welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I am Brad, joined by Shad.
Oh,
Matt is on vacation this week. He shall return next week. Just if you're wondering where Matt is, if you're trying to
I
get
should,
your Matt fix for the week.
I should do one of those vacation things sometimes.
So we have a bit of a different show. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do our match of the week right off the bat, which is a delightful little hoss fight that I dug up for this week. Like
This is a big meaty men match that predates the meme
yeah, and
by like 20 years. So
more like 30 years.
okay, look, you don't have to make me feel that old.
Yes, I know. And then we're gonna be talking some comic book stuff, and then we might dive into Stormlight Archive a bit by Brandon Sanderson because I've been reading. I am like 65 to 70% through the second book, and I have thoughts about it. A lot of thoughts.
Yeah, I get that. Anyway, let's start with the match. So what's the time frame on this match?
1994. I think it's like it's it was Spring Stampede, so it would have been Spring Stampede was an April pay-per-view, I'm pretty sure. Well, 94, I'm not sure. It'd been March or April. So this would be Ray Traylor as the boss.
As the boss, yeah.
Against Vader with Harley Race. There's no title on the line. So if you don't know...
It's a heavy hitter grudge match, I think is what they called it.
Well, if you don't know, they kind of debuted Traylor as the Big Boss Man. Actually, when he debuted, he had the Big Boss Man outfit on, which was a no-go. I think they were trying to, like, get away with it by changing the outfit. And then
he was wearing a black shirt that still had, like, it didn't have the epaulets on it, but it had a lot of the other...
It looked a lot like
for lack of a better term, greeblies on it.
It looked a lot like his Attitude Era stuff. And like what he wore when he was just Ray Traylor. And then so that's a no-go. So then they rebrand him into the Guardian Angel, which I guess like they shit on Dark Side of the Ring, and I used to like agree with that, and then I didn't know that was like a legitimate like kind of vigilante group. And then once I realized,
I knew about that one.
Okay,
go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, I was gonna say, once I realized like it was a vigilante group, like it made more sense. I was kind of like, like I don't think it's intentional, but like as a character arc of he went from being a cop to like a vigilante kind of worked for me.
Yeah. So the Guardian Angels were founded in the 70s when violent crime was kind of at its peak. And there's a fascinating research into it that I'd have to go back and listen to it again, because the whole leaded gas thing contributes, but the thing that really pushed it over the top were refineries, like a lot of refineries and that sort of stuff. Which, if you go to like the Pacific Northwest, Seattle Tacoma area, SeaTac, that sort of stuff, they had some god awful nasty ones, and like there was, forgive the pun, but a killer's row of true crime all stars coming out of that, because that's where Green River and Ted Bundy and Gary Ridgway and like just stacks and stacks and stacks of those guys grew up around that stuff.
I can't think of his name. Bumblebutt was in that area too.
Oh, yeah, Ed Kemper.
Yeah.
And so it was since violent crime was so high, the group called the Guardian Angels formed up, because they're like, no, we're gonna patrol at nights about this. And the Guardian Angels were they looked like raspberry berets and carried nightsticks.
They looked like his outfit. I mean, his outfit was pretty true to form.
Yeah, it was pretty much on point for the uniform for them, and
I think they
I
might
I
have
knew about that
used the
one already.
actual group. Yeah, I don't hate it. Like they were trying to make it like an LOL WCW Russell crap thing, and I'm like,
It,
it's fine. Like I can
it's
that makes sense.
Here's the thing, even being the boss doesn't bother me that much because what he's doing is he's just keeping the momentum of what people know him by.
Yeah.
And I mean that I advocate for that because when somebody leaves and goes from one place to another, I'm like, you should still probably be using the same name.
Yeah.
And so Big Boss Man wouldn't fly, but being quote the boss or just boss, because let's say he wasn't Big Boss Man. Let's say he was Boss Trailer instead of Big Boss Man whenever he came over.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that at all, right? What that does is that creates continuity and people that had buy-in on that particular person that continues forward. That's why it's still a big deal for
He should have
why
been
I'm so aggravated with people that go to WWE now and then get nonsensical names.
he should have been Boss Hog. That would have been awesome.
He would have had to wrestle in a white suit like he's a member of the Righteous or something.
Yeah. That
But
is on my to-do list this year, I think, is Smokey and the Bandit we've got to do.
well, that Boss Hogg was Dukes of
Yeah, I
Hazzard.
know. It's the same
Smokey and the
concept
Bandit
of
was Smokey and the Bandit was Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane.
yeah, that's same
Um,
concept though, but like that
sure,
we were doing lines for that earlier this year, but
yeah.
yeah,
Uh, so I don't have a problem with it. It might have just been the threat of legal action and they
no, it
backed off
was.
of
It
it.
was.
Well, because let's be honest, if you took that to court, how likely is it that if he showed up as quote unquote the boss or boss trailer or whatever, and he had similar gear? I mean, how hard are they going to come down on that, right? Are they just going to let that go? They're
Yeah, but
probably not going to be too hard on that.
once you figure the legal cost, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
Because and the
probably
other thing is
that's why they dropped the glacier thing.
because the other thing
It's
is
because
like um I think they wouldn't have fought it because like if I got a cease and desist on that one, I'd be like, yeah, you got me. Okay, we'll change it. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, I don't mind the guardian angel thing. It doesn't bother me because
No,
it's
I think
uh,
as an evolution of his character, it makes sense too. Like it
well, and
just
it was a decent tie-in.
it would have
Um,
been topical of its era too.
yeah, yeah. I think the guardian angels were still. You know what? I've got the internet right
That's
here.
actually the funny thing about how much people complain about how terrible modern era is and stuff. And it's like, you do realize when you say all this stuff about crime that like crime has gone way down since like the 70s and the 80s and early 90s, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
it,
gone up a little bit since COVID, but like it's not anywhere near what.
we're still like in terms of violent crime in the United States, in terms of total whatever, we're at like near the lowest levels it's ever been. So,
There's been some
by the
like
way,
changes, but like it used to be if I was gonna like do anything about murder statistics, I had to look it up almost every year because it would be lower every
yeah.
time I'd look it up.
So the I looked it up. Guardian Angels were created to combat violence on the New York City subway.
Yeah.
Originally trained members to make citizens arrest for violent crimes. Um, let me see. In December 2024, founder Curtis Sliwa said that the told the New York Post the group's focus would shift to include wellness checks on homeless people and people that seemed emotionally distressed. Still, yeah, there's the the red beret and red jackets or the white t-shirts with the logo. So they're still around. That that threw me, but they're still around. So
I
hey,
figured they were.
mm-hmm,
There's a lot of stuff still around that you'd be like shocked by. Like
mm-hmm.
um oh fuck, Heaven's Gate's still around. They still manage the
Yeah, there's
website.
like a handful of them that are still there.
The website's still there from like the 90s.
Yeah,
I should
I
look it up
think.
after the show. I wonder if it still looks like a 90s website.
Hang on, let me open an incognito window real quick.
Well, you don't want them to show up at your house with
I really don't.
Marie
Look,
Calendar?
I am. How can I best put this? Yep, still there, still very much a '90s web. Like this looks like a GeoCities website, straight up. Um, no, I have gotten into it. Whenever there have been like extreme religious groups or cult stuff that's shown up, I have gotten into it with them.
You know, as far as cults go, they were. I mean, other than the
They were pretty
suicide.
benign,
Yeah.
but I have very much a I very much have a problem with groups, people in groups that go and pervert someone's belief, and
Yeah.
that that seriously does not work for me. So that's yeah.
And
In any event,
like yeah, but like as far as like cults go, like they really I mean they did kill themselves, I mean, but like they weren't really hurting anyone. They were
they
just
were
kind
really
of
reclusive, but that's
yeah.
still.
Cuz there's some if you read about some other ones, there is some messed up stuff.
Oh yeah, my favorite example is Om Shinrikyo,
Yeah.
because that is that whole story is so bonkers crazy, and yet with the amount of what they almost accomplished is just
Or that
unreal.
I can't think of the name of the Canadian one was really bad too. I can't think of the
Is this
guy's
the
name.
more recent one?
It was like the 90s, I think. Last podcast on the left did a
I
show on
know,
it.
but it's. Hang on. Now you've got me.
I can like see the guy's name in print and I can't remember what it was.
Was it Roche Thoralt?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
That was it. Yes, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
wait a minute. The Anthill Kids.
Yes, 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 yes,
Oh,
yes, yes. That was it.
yeah. I did not. I got a heads up on that one and decided, you know what, I'm not getting into that. That's We are way off on a digression.
Yeah.
Ray Trailer versus Big Van
Yeah,
Vader.
so this is from so 1994 WCW is actually kind of interesting that people don't talk about because they just think of it as Hogan shows up. But like WCW for like the first 6 months of the year is like really good and
Good.
like getting
Yeah.
better, and then Hogan kind of derails everything. So this is a grudge match, and it's very grudgy.
So one of the things, this is, I hadn't thought to look into it, but even with Hogan showing up and screwing up the main event, was undercard WCW still really good through that time period?
I think his guys were starting to show up, and it was starting to get bad.
Okay. Oh yeah, because that's when the Booty Man showed up and stuff like that. I
And I
forgot
think
about
there
that.
were, I think there were some things that weren't his fault that also happened, like Austin getting hurt and some stuff like that that would
Well,
have drug it down.
one of the things, one of the examples that I give people about why I don't like Hogan is Hogan actively sabotaging other people's careers. And they'll be like, oh, people who don't know are kind of surprised by it. They're like, oh, really? Whose career did he sabotage? And I can go, oh, you might know one of them. He goes by the name Steve Austin. Like Hogan pushed to get Austin fired, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
the thing with that bothers me is people always focus they always focus on like the 80s stuff. And like, well, he didn't let Piper have the title or this or that. And it's like, yeah, it would have killed business. They absolutely should have kept the title on Hogan until they took it off the first time.
I don't mind. I don't use Piper as an example because Piper was very smart about protecting himself from getting
Well,
fed
it
to
wouldn't have
Hogan.
worked. That's the thing, people, when they say, like, well, he wouldn't, like, put Piper over. It's like, yeah, because Piper with the title wouldn't have worked.
It wasn't that kind of territory.
Yeah.
And I know territory, but it wasn't that kind of company. The it was and continued to be for years and years and years the babyface holds the title and takes on all comers kind of company. Um, John Cena was the same playbook. So I don't worry about that. I point at things like, oh, you mean, my go-to example is trying to kill Steve Austin's career.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why? Because he was threatened by him. He was like, that guy's going to be too good. We should get him fired so he can't threaten me making money. It's
You
like,
know, I don't, I don't know if I agree with that stance as much as I don't think he got it and he had too much power.
Hulk Hogan has shown himself to be such an insecure person that I 100% believe that anybody he saw that could have had big potential he was threatened by and tried to sabotage them. Like
I
100%.
With Austin, I struggle because Austin was like such a more modern kind of gimmick. I could just see Hogan like not getting like Austin.
I mean, why not both?
Yeah, that's
It
true.
could very much be both.
Because he
In
was
any event,
really because I think what people don't realize is like and Kevin Sullivan kind of talked about this with like the Dungeon of Doom that like he kind of had to like give Hogan what he wanted so he could see it wasn't working and then he would do it Kevin's way. Like
yeah,
Hogan, it's really weird with Hogan because like Hogan in like 94 and 95 just doesn't get it. He wants it to
no,
be like 1980, which is really weird because like he goes from this guy that doesn't get it. And then they do the NWO thing, and then he's suddenly like this cutting edge, like cool guy that's like in this weird spot where wrestling is actually like with the culture for like a little bit.
so as I remember the story on that one, it was like right after they did the NWO thing and they're shooting promos. And okay, full disclosure, this is Kevin Nash telling the story, so whole big grain of salt with it. But he said Hogan's just cutting kind of Hogan promos, and he's like, this isn't working. Like this is going to kill this dead. This is not going to work. We need to do something different. And he gave credit to one of the editors that was around who came up with the whole choppy, the following announcement paid for by the New World Order with like the quick cuts and um, the sound bites and that sort of stuff. So
I was watching that with someone that like wasn't necessarily well knows modern wrestling a bit but never seen like that era of the NWO thing. And
okay,
when those like paid NWO ads came on, she was like, "Why doesn't wrestling do that? That's like awesome." Like she
yeah,
was like, "That's one of the coolest things I've ever seen on like a wrestling program." Because like the concept of the NWO was paying for advertising time just so they could do propaganda videos for themselves like was
yeah. Well, and I didn't like the idea of like when they did Sold Out. I can't remember who said it. I can't remember if it was Hall or Nash or somebody else. But my problem was that killed like that made no sense to me because if it was an NWO pay-per-view, then it should have just been a whole pay-per-view of NWO guys beating everybody else. Like why why did any NWO guys lose on the NWO pay-per-view
I think
and
the
that sort
idea
of thing?
was it was like an unsanctioned show that the WCW guys came to like their wheelhouse to like take their shot at them. It's been a long time. I know they explained it.
Yeah.
I don't think it particularly worked either, and I think even a lot of the guys involved now say it didn't really work.
Yeah. It didn't track. It didn't make sense. Like it was a good surface idea, but it didn't really track. Anyway, back to this match. Um, it is uh, it is this heavy hitter grudge match.
Yeah, and we watched Ray and Eddie last week, and they did
Hmm.
some crazy bumps in the Ray and Eddie thing. And I was watching this, and I'm like, damn, these guys. I think these guys were like flying more and doing crazier shit than Ray and Eddie were,
Yeah,
because these guys were like, even Race took like a big bump because he took the whole.
right there at the beginning. Yeah.
But like, there's a point like Vader does this thing where he runs down the ramp and jumps over the top rope for like a splash. He does this gigantic bump over the guardrail. It's where
Hmm.
he even busted his eye hard way doing it. There's a point where Ray Trailer does a bump over the top rope straight out to the floor.
Yeah, he full on, and like Harley Race takes a he takes a bump with with mustard right there at the beginning, because Trailer and Vader start brawling early, and something I don't remember what it was exactly, but Race like hooks Trailer,
Yeah, and
and here
Vader,
comes Vader charging
and he does his big, like,
his body attack.
yeah.
And number one, credit to Ray Trailer, because he moved fast getting out of the way of that, and he just mowed poor Harley Race over, and I was like, huh. I mean, it's Harley Race. He was tougher than hell anyway, but it was like, this explains why Harley Race didn't get really involved in the match, because he got wiped out hard early.
He did take a he. There was a point where Trailer was on the floor and he kind of kicked him once, but that was like about all he did
Yeah,
after that. And then there's a point where like they're like throwing each other off the top rope. Like there's this really cool spot because some of this stuff is only because they're hyper athletic. Because there's a point where like Trailer comes off the top rope and Vader turns it into a power slam in midair. And if you watch it, it's like goddamn, like Ray Trailer is so athletic he could turn in midair like that to turn it into a power. Because
yeah,
Vader didn't do much. Vader, like, it's kind of like Shad said, working with someone really good, where like Trailer did all the work because he rotated in midair.
yeah,
Like Vader barely did. And there's one where like Trailer pretty much like one-handed slams Vader off the top rope.
yeah. Well, so that power slam spot was actually, I don't know if you caught it, but it was a repeat spot, because the first time they did it, for some reason it didn't work on the way in, and so they just turned it into Ray Trailer doing a crossbody.
Yeah.
And then he goes up on the other corner and does it, and that's Vader catches him and does the
I
power
think the
slam out of
angle
it.
was wrong and they just kind of went with it
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
time.
something like that.
But what I also like about this is kind of so there's a couple things going on that I like about this. So
Hmm.
you get to see Ray Trailer work underneath a little bit, um, because they go back and forth a lot. But I kind of feel like the vibe of this match is Ray Trailer is just fighting inevitability largely.
I My read on this match was that we had um I know I said it in our group chat, but this was not a standard structure match. This was a push-pull match, because you'd have one guy get up on the other, and then the other guy would get up on it. And it did that way back and forth through the whole match, which was, you don't see that a whole lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I think
and
Vader's a smart guy.
Trailer was giving it as much as he was getting it in this one, except I could be wrong, but it sure did not look like he was working as snug as Vader was,
Well,
which speaks to the professionalism of him, right? Because
yeah.
if Vader's landing those hard shits and not hard shits, hard shots, and Trailer's not just bam, receipting him back, I mean, that's a professional right there. So
Well, and I think whoever structured this is kind of brilliant because what they did what they did largely with it is like Trailer's the underdog, but they have a guy that's about Vader's size, and then they were smart enough to realize like because you had the Sting and Vader stuff, but that was different. But it's like, oh, we can just have a guy bully Vader right back and see how it goes
yeah,
over.
and that was fun because it's a different match than so much of what Vader had.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Vader was bumping huge for him too. Like this guardrail bump he did was crazy.
hmm
Like he like went
Oh
over
yeah,
and like had like complete air and like landed on the other side.
yeah, and yeah, there. I mean, there is a lot of big bumping and big moving, and it's really cool.
And the crowd was
Like,
like loving because I was just like, oh, this will be fun because I've seen him wrestle before, and I watched. I'm like, holy shit, this rules.
yeah, there was a spot in the middle of it where the crowd got quiet, and I couldn't figure why.
I think they were just watching.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they were really just kind of like drawn in, and that's cool. But we just had these two big dudes, two meaty men slapping meat, beating the crap out of each other, and it was fantastic. I mean, big old dudes hitting each other and wham and knocking. And you said the crazy bumps they had. They're so much bigger that every bump they do just sounds and looks so much harder than what like the Ray and Eddie stuff did. It's it's really it's really a sight to see. It's fun to watch.
I think because like I think if I was in the audience, I wouldn't have reacted much because I think I would have just been sitting there like, wow.
Yeah, just
And I have to say, Vader's. I love when Vader does the moonsault because it's just
he does a good moonsault.
yeah. Well,
That I mean, I've seen some where Vader does the moonsault and he goes this way, and
mhm,
so it's not exactly a moonsault. It's kind of like one of those twisting things. But this one is a full bore, like full straight on backflip moonsault.
yeah.
Um, and it's just really impressive.
I was telling Chad when we were watching, like, you should have done the Vader splash when you were a worker. You could have gotten
That
away
Vader
with it.
bomb out of the corner. I may have been able to get away with it, but I don't know if I was built right for it.
You could have done it to
Because
smaller guys though, because you're just doing the like, you're kind of just doing the oh, I'm jumping off the middle turnbuckle and like splashing you.
kick you get up there, you put your feet on it, you kick your feet out, you
Yeah,
spread out, and you just come down with a splash. Sure, but it's
especially when you're a heel, you could have just been doing it to be a prick too.
that's true. That would have made a lot of sense. Also,
Because
God,
I would think it'd be
where were these conversations when I was
well,
working,
I think
man?
it'd be funny if like you were like for a little guy to do that to like people if they were a heel just to like piss people off, be like, what's this little motherfucker doing like you know what I mean?
Oh, you think you're big stuff, huh?
Yeah.
And I mean, you know what? There's a couple of guys I'm going to recommend that to. I'm not going to say you should do it, but I'm going to say you should think about this.
Because I think it's underrated to do things that like to do absurd things like I said, be a little guy and do like the Vader splash, even though you're not going to do much damage. Because I think it would piss the crowd off. Because like, and
Kind of the Crash Holly super heavyweight
yeah,
gimmick. Um,
because like the crowd might laugh or but I think you would get a reaction out of it.
yeah. Well, and that particular spot, I don't remember it being used for a lot of stuff. Um, I mean, the only person I remember doing that particular splash much is Vader.
Someone
But can
else
you imagine?
did it, but I
You
can't think of
imagine a
who.
smaller dude gets up there, bounce, kicks off, and then twists in midair and turns it into like an elbow or something?
Yeah,
I mean, that's not a finish, but that's a pretty cool spot.
if you're telling one of the little guys to do that, that you should maybe say or do the Yokozuna thing just to be funny.
I can't do that. I can't recommend the Yokozuna thing because
Do you have a guy that really does it?
no. We got a woman that does it.
Mm.
You might have seen her. I think she's a former NWA
Oh, Big
Women's
Mama.
Champion. Big Mama, yeah.
She does it used to be CWF Hollywood. She does stuff for them. She does the Memphis show. So
Hmm.
she's kind of like a name in that like mid-tier indie. She's pretty
Yeah.
good from what I've seen.
I've seen her live a few times, and she's good. And the other thing that impressed me a lot is there have been some times where she had to think for at least two people in the ring, for herself and her opponent. She had to think and call stuff for both of them, and did a great job with it. So um, I'm a big advocate for her. It's even if she's not going to be a work rate person like, for example, a lot of the AEW card is. But honest to God, I this is something that we had in our group chat a little while back that I couldn't articulate properly. Like, can't stand WWE because it's all
Pomp and
bullshit.
circumstance with no substance.
There's no substance to it. AEW is great. I love watching AEW. It's fun. It's go go go. But if there was something that could be that middle ground, I would really like to see that. And that, I don't know what to compare that to. Maybe that early 90s WCW kind of thing where you got work rate
Yeah.
and a little, bullshit mixed in with it, or gaga, or whatever term we want to use. I think that would be pretty great because there's plenty of name people who are good, but they don't fit the
She
AEW work rate
well,
product.
she strikes me as she's kind of like, I don't want to say carpenter because she's better. Like she is like kind of like that foundational veteran you want somewhere on your card because like you can put about anyone in there with her and she's gonna drag them kicking and screaming to something.
Yeah,
Like no
yeah,
matter what, like she knows she's and why I think she's also good, and I don't know if you've seen that, is like she's that veteran. She knows exactly how much to give the crowd, not too little, not too much. She knows that exactly what that
yeah.
crowd needs in that
Here's
moment.
here's how good, in my opinion, she is. I saw her walk out to the ring to do a live show that was an outdoor, no admission show. It was part of a festival. It's just out there for whoever walked up, and she got the crowd into the match by her just sheer knowledge. And that to me is just really impressive. So I got to give I got to give her a lot of credit. And here's the thing. The the closest comparison that I can think of off the top of my head. Uh, it's really difficult because it's hard to come up with a good. Willow might be the closest thing, but she doesn't work like Willow does.
Yeah,
You know,
Willow is a strange creature. Um,
it it's really fun because she's she's power
but she
and
has
size.
but she has like where Willow's interesting is because of her personality and stuff. Like she's very sympathetic when she sells. So like you have this big monster that's sympathetic, but then when it's her turn to go, she can just like
She just starts
Hulk smash
just
people. Yeah.
throwing you around. And the thing is, Big Mama doesn't work like Willow does, because Willow, or Big Mama's thing, it's very much a she throws her weight around kind of thing. And she may be a big woman, but here's the thing, she is very fit. Like the last show I was at, I was going to do something, and I heard her talking about, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go do a half marathon. I'm gonna go do a half marathon next month." And I'm like, I don't care how nobody just does a half marathon or something like that. So
She's
I might have heard her wrong, but I mean, she's
she
she's big,
works
but
a lot
she's
of
fit. Yeah,
she works a lot of companies because I looked her up. I think when they were using her, and I mean, I think she's doing a couple shows a weekend, and like she's a she's kind of like a name.
yeah,
I would say because when I looked at their initial roster, I think of like their initial people, like as far as like name, she was their biggest name they had first. Like
yeah,
as far as like outside of like the state, she was their
yeah.
biggest name.
Well, they've got apparently Vic the Bruiser has gotten back into it, so that's pretty big Kentucky name.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
like her. She's a good worker. she's the kind of people she's the kind of person you need.
Yeah, and she's just so damn smart. That's the thing. But this match is a fantastic big man brawl. They beat each other up, they throw each other around, and it's someone going toe to toe with Vader, giving back just as good as he's getting right up until the end whenever Vader manages to lock in and put him away.
It's one of those matches which I know this is weird to say as much as we've watched stuff. Is like I kind of watched that and it made me like think about my opinions on things a little bit.
Okay.
Cuz like I said like the Ray and Eddie match is better, but I was just like damn, I don't think we've ever done this back to back and I'm like the big boys are like bumping harder than the little guys.
Well, I think that what it does is it also illustrates the difference between that rolling bump style that a lot of lucha has versus big old dudes doing flat back bump kind of stuff in the American style. It's a big contrast. And I also think that okay, I know I've said before that I don't really rate matches. Um, I'm in the spot where it's like, did this match set out what it was
Yeah.
supposed to do? Then it's good. This match is one that not only did it do what it set out to do, it did a fantastic job at it. And so that I know that sounds kind of like a cop out, but
We've talked about it before. The folly of star ratings though is like if you like I do it for this show. I would give this 3 3/4 is what I gave it. But like the problem is like star ratings are fluid. Like there are things like if I rated it 5 stars when I was 22 years old and I watched it now with 24 years of wrestling experience added on, I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
that sucked.
yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that that's a lot of Attitude Era stuff.
Yeah.
Is if people went back and watched it with a little seasoning, they'd be like, oh,
You know, the
never.
Austin stuff holds up really well though. Like the SummerSlam 98 with Taker and Austin I think holds up pretty well. Um the the Vader and Mankind versus Owen and Bulldog Mania match holds up pretty well.
Hmm.
Um
It now here's the funny thing: those two matches you just named had two people that I consider to be just absolutely brilliant at wrestling. Like they understand it on a level that impresses people, and that's Steve Austin and Mick Foley.
yeah.
Um, I was at the panel of Foley and Vader, the 20-year anniversary panel of the ear incident, and they're talking, and Foley's doing most of the talking because, I mean, that's just kind of how it works out. But then Vader steps in. He goes, "You got to understand. Any time that they were sending me out here to work with Jack, for me, it was almost a night off because, and his words were, this man is a savant when it comes to wrestling because of how smart he could be at laying stuff out and put things together." And what, who else do you hear that kind of praise leveled at? Not hardly any people. And I attribute it to Steve Austin because I hear Steve Austin, um, I hear him do commentary on stuff he watched and breaking down everything he does and why in order to make what you're watching to be better. The reason he pivots this way for, so the camera can catch what it's supposed to do. Like Steve Austin understands televised wrestling in a way that a lot of people don't even think about. And I guess that goes with being like a wrestling nerd. Um, it is uh, it's really impressive. And so, let's say we go back and there are probably some matches that as a young person I watch and I'm like, oh, that was so cool, and I watch it back now. I'm like, okay, that's cool to see, but the match itself is not great. If I went back and watched Tom Zink versus Too Cold Scorpio, like those guys are going to do some impressive stuff, jumping and flying and that sort of thing. But, and I'm not calling anything in particular out. I just pulled a couple names out of the air. Is that going to be structured really well as a good match, or is it a match that's going to have some really cool high spots in it?
Too
I
Cold
know
might,
Scorpio's pretty good,
yeah,
but
Too Cold
but
might
I'm
pull something
saying
out of his butt.
but I'm saying like Zink was very athletic,
But the Z-Man wasn't very good
but
though.
it wasn't very good. So, you know, you'd have the two of these guys trading high spots, sure. But how good is the match? But at the time, what do I know? Oh, they're doing cool stuff.
And like I'll use a good one. Like a lot of Lex Luger stuff has aged better for me as an adult.
You know, the thing I realized from us watching Luger stuff is how much stuff benefits from Luger just being a little bit understated. Cause Luger stuff, you know, when he's he does his comeback and he hits clotheslines all your standard babyface comeback where you hit clotheslines and that sort of thing, but it works better for Luger. He's not throwing huge big clotheslines for it, but the way Lex Luger was built, big, strong, and he hit a clothesline, yeah, that would knock you down. So he didn't have to go over the top for it. Um, and but then he fires up, and when you go into the finish, and he stands up, and he just kind of looks around, and then he only does the torture X sign like a couple of times. He's not like wandering around like, "Ooh, yeah, we're gonna," He only does it a little bit, and then it's like, "Oh, okay." He didn't have to go over the top with it, which made it more cool, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I we are gonna do one from that era soon, because they are better than I think people would think. But the Lex Luger Bret Hart kind of like U.S. title hot shot in '98.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to go. Yeah, I'd have to watch that again because that is just kind of faded into the mush of the annals of time for me. It's
Yeah,
hard to.
and it was like that happened in like a really dead spot for WCW too.
Yeah, in that time period where everything's. Yeah. Okay, I had to go back and look for Luger, by the way, because I knew he used the torture rack and I knew he used that his forearm smash as a finish. I couldn't remember what his one before that was, and it was. I mean, it's a pile driver.
Yeah, when Rice was managing him, but the idea of the forearm, at least early, was that he had like some sort of
Motorcycle wreck.
and then like he had a metal plate, and that's why he was using it, which was
Yeah.
an interesting bit of lore. But no, like even in the '80s, he was using the torture rack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So he used it and then fell out of it and then went back to using it. Okay. Okay, I follow. That makes sense.
yeah. So then, yeah. So I really like this. Like I said, makes me want to. There's a we might need to do it next week. There's like a Boss Vader Sting 3-way at Fall Brawl that year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that we might
Okay.
have to check out. Yeah, because the
Okay.
it wouldn't have been '93 because trailer debuts at the end of '93, I think, because he goes after Ruda first.
Okay. That. Okay. One of those things where I just don't have the recollection for it. Like, I know exactly how good it is, but I do not have the depth of watching it that you guys do.
Yeah, I get it. Um, so then the other thing we're not gonna talk about it too much because it just happened today, but Dory Funk Jr. passed away today.
Yeah.
I might dig around and see if we can find some matches for him. There is one I want to do really bad, but I'm not going to subject Matt and Shad to it. I really love the match, but it's an hour long, like 70s match with him and Jack Briscoe in All Japan, which
That
I really love, but like I don't.
that
That's
that's
asking
a
a lot.
big ask. Yeah. That's a big ask.
Yeah, but we've been talking about doing some of his tag stuff with Terry too. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, he passed away. I think he was 86. Was he? No, he was fairly old. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell because Dory Funk was like 50 going on 90 a long time
Yeah,
ago.
he looked a lot older than he was for most of his life. And that's a weird weird place to be. But well, it's kind of like how Arn Anderson looked about 42 years old for his entire life
Yeah,
until here recently.
yeah. So we're gonna have a kind of like a couple conversations here. So the concept of this is it's comic book characters that we really like and maybe like since a
Hmm.
kid. We like the look of them, we like the idea of them, but we've never really stuck with them as a character. I'm just going to call it what it is because this is what it's based on. We're going to call it Hawkman syndrome, where it's a really cool character that has never been executed particularly well outside of a couple runs. So like you really love the character, but
Yeah.
they don't have that big bad run that like makes you really like love them.
They don't have an establishing run.
It's not like
Um,
Spider-Man where they have like a rogues gallery. Like if someone said, "What's your favorite Spider-Man story?" you can list off like 10 different things. And even if you're not
so
like a Spider-Man fan, like even Shad could say like, "Okay, well, these stories."
yeah, the thing that and here's the thing, like in this discussion, I can't even bring up Captain Marvel, Shazam, whatever term you want to use, because he's been a decently big deal. You know, he was a big deal in Day of Vengeance. He was a big deal in Kingdom Come. Like there's been plenty of cases where he was important, so I can't use that. Um, so off the top of my head, a character I really liked but never really seemed to have the establishing run by himself. Um, and it's a shame, but and yeah, he had a movie role, but Mr. Terrific. I really liked comics Mr. Terrific. He worked really well in the ensemble for the JSA, but as far as I know, he didn't have a big single run anywhere.
They've
Um,
tried a couple times. You just can't really sustain a solo book very well. Some of the new stuff he is around though.
I think he is, and if you had a two, or if you had a buddy cop or a trio book, I think he'd be great for that. Um, his friendship with Doctor Midnight, I absolutely loved because there was real depth for that. They were on opposite ends of the spectrum, for example, in the whole faith discussion, but they respected each other so much that they didn't get into it. They're like, look, we know where we both stand on this. We're not getting into it. We respect each other that much. Um, so Mr. Terrific's one. Citizen Steel was also a JSA character that didn't really break out from there. Um, I really liked. I really liked that one. I'm gonna sit here and think for a second because I had this whole big list and then I spilled something on it and I had to throw the paper away.
Like sticking in there, like the Spectre and Doctor Fate, I would think would be two.
Spectre had a little bit of solo stuff. Doctor Fate's one that it's really difficult with Doctor Fate because you can't have Doctor Fate at full power
Yeah,
because most of the stuff he's just going to slap
yeah.
around.
I I I'll be a little heretical here. I did like the Spectre when Hal Jordan was the Spectre. I actually liked that quite a bit at the time.
Yeah, and it made perfect sense. The whole concept of what the Spectre was and tying Hal Jordan to it made sense for both characters. So that was great. But again, that's not a character you can write around. That's a force of nature that you can employ in some stories.
Yeah.
Now I got to sit here and think because I've got to break out of the Justice Society
Miles
mold. Otherwise, I'll
Morales.
live there all day.
Miles Morales is another one where like I really love Into the Spider-Verse. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's really good. You should check it out. But like they've never put like a good writer on him. So like there's this movie and like people really like him, and then you try to read comics and they all suck. So
I
Miles would
thought
be.
that, I mean, his genesis came out of being Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, but that was like when no one was reading it, and that was kind of like the tail end of it.
Okay. It's a shame because it's one of those times where they decided to go for something different, and I appreciate it. It wasn't in their main line, and they're like, let's go for it and see what happens. And they've made a character a lot of people seem to like.
Yeah.
I wish that could have worked better, but the problem is, how do you describe Miles Morales? Like, oh, how's Ultimate Spider-Man? Well, they've got a new Spider-Man. A new one? What happened to Peter? He died, and wait, what? They killed Peter Parker? But it's only the Ultimates thing. But then a whole bunch of people are going to be like, oh, God, screw it, never mind.
Yeah,
They're going to
it's
be
one of
pissed
those
about it.
it's one of those things that like turn non-comic fans off because like I think like with Wally West it was easier. It's like well, I mean, people weren't that attached to Barry Allen as like they were to Peter Parker, but it was like, oh, well, why is he a new Flash? Like, well, because the other Flash, they had this big cosmic event and he died saving it, and this was his sidekick who took over the mantle. And then they're like,
Yeah,
oh, that makes sense.
that's it. Yeah, Barry Allen had an amazing send-off in Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to send a character off, like, that's the way to do it. And so having his sidekick step into it, sure, perfect. I like it. I wish, can I phrase this properly? Because this could get into a real rabbit hole on it. I
The
wish Tim Drake, as he was originally written, could have had a bigger thing.
he did get like he got like a good like 8 years with Chuck Dixon, so he did get something. Like that
Okay, then he doesn't really
original
qualify.
because that original Robin solo title's pretty good, but they've systematically like ruined him because like like his mom did die in the early thing, but he still had his dad until you know,
For quite a while.
until Identity Crisis had to also screw that up.
Well, yeah, there's some stuff in Identity Crisis I really liked, and then some stuff I really disliked. Um, like, okay, as an example, Identity Crisis did a great thing with two characters. One of them I already liked, but the other I was kind of meh on until they did that run. I'm like, oh, dude, this is really cool. And that one is Ted Cord. Like I was kind of meh on Ted Cord, and then they do that storyline. I'm like, dude, this is good stuff. And then it ends. The other one was Power Girl, because I was in Power Girl had the, I can't say the weirdest backstory because Hawkman's was worse.
Yeah.
They kept changing Hawkman's
Well, they
backstory.
fixed Jeff Johns fixed it, and then they screwed it up again. So.
But for Power Girl, I really liked because she was like, she was the Kryptonian that didn't fit, and it's like, oh, okay. This is the fact that she had really good characterization in it. She had that one short run of it, and then they just didn't do anything about it. So I like Power Girl, not, how do I phrase this? I like Power Girl not for her most visible superpower.
You mean when the artist did? I don't remember if it was in the 70s. There was a point where they kept trying. They were just doing a running joke that they kept making her boobs progressively bigger until editorial told them to stop. Was like the joke.
Until somebody noticed.
Yeah.
And the thing that gets me is her original costume. If you go back and look, her original costume actually, I think that probably made it pretty easy. And from looking over at chat, yes, Mask of the Phantasm is fantastic.
Yeah, we
I
did a
love
movie review, and this was still in podcast form for that maybe
a while back.
Yeah.
I
I think
went and
that
saw
might have been the
Mask.
300th episode.
I went and saw Mask of the Phantasm when it was re-released in theaters. And the hell of it is, I had a copy of it. I owned a physical copy, but I hadn't watched it because every time I did, something happened and got in the way. And so when they're like, "Oh, we're re-releasing it in theaters for 20th anniversary," I was like, "Yeah." I took the day off work for that, and I was like one of 3 people in the theater, and I had a fantastic time. I was like, that was great. So now I gotta stop and think other good characters that have been kind of minor.
They're just not had
Uh,
like good writing to him. Kyle Rayner. Well, no, Kyle got on Mars for a while, but he's been kind of.
and Kyle also got a uh, Kyle got a good run out of post War of Light for being the light bearer, because Kyle did the whole thing of wielding every ring and being the one worthy of wielding the white ring of
Yeah.
life and that sort of stuff. Like, it's really, he had a solid run, so I don't feel like you can use him.
How about Connor?
Connor Kent is in an odd place because Connor is, he didn't have a big single run, but he got lots of prominence in group books, like through
Yeah,
Titans and that sort of thing.
because he did get Jeff Johns on Teen Titans for a bit, and then he got
Yeah.
the Pad Young Justice run.
Yeah, it's give me just a second, I'm sorry.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Superman Doomsday in a while, Vectron. I remember liking it, but it's been a while. I've been telling
Okay,
myself I
yeah.
was gonna go through them all, one of these years because they're all on Max right now, but I never get around to it. I'm not great at like
Yeah.
watching stuff.
Yeah. Superman
That
Doomsday was good. Uh
I did like the one they did where they did an animated adaptation of the Tower of Babel
oh,
storyline.
that's right.
That one I thought was pretty good.
Mhm. Um
The Wonder
can't remember what
Woman
that one's called.
The Wonder Woman and Green Lantern ones were early, but those I thought were pretty good.
Um New Frontier?
Yeah.
Okay. Um Now I'm sitting here trying to think of other characters that, because I'm pondering. You could probably pick on some of the Titans. For a while you could say Cyborg, and then they went in and they're like, wait, Cyborg should be pretty awesome. And so they kind of rectified that. Um but a lot of the Titans did get showcased, so you can't really pick on them.
Because like over at Marvel, like I would say like Moon Knight for a long time, but they've kind of rectified that with Moon Knight, and he's gotten some good stuff
Yeah.
recently.
Feel like they've had a lot of more shit C tier characters. Like the
Yeah.
good C tier characters, they do good stuff with, but the crappy ones, it's like what in God's name possessed folks, whoever was writing X-Men, to make Cypher somebody who goes on field missions?
Yeah, he's a
What
cool,
what the hell is that?
but that bothered me because like I think he's a cool concept for like a character, but it's like no, like make him a non-com because
Yeah,
that makes sense.
it doesn't make any. Why would you? He's a dude who basically reads super good. Oh, let's
Yeah,
send him on a mission to stop Magneto. Why?
yeah.
How's that going to benefit anything?
I think
What you do is that you show Cypher would be the perfect example of a mutant who benefits society without getting into violent confrontations.
yeah.
Cypher working at the UN or something like that, like unlocking all of this stuff would be really cool.
Or you could I haven't read that story in a while, but like you could do something where and this might have been the story. I don't know. Like I said, it's been forever since I've read it, but like I would have accepted like a he dies on a combat mission and he talked them into letting him go because he felt guilty that his friends were always risking their lives and he was safe at like the mansion. Like you could get some mileage out of that, I think.
Yeah,
Not speaking from real life. Of I had a friend that did several tours in Iraq as is like non-combat, and his last week he volunteered for a combat mission. He lived, but I was like, you dumb fuck, like you were almost out and you put yourself in harm's way, but whatever. He made
yeah,
it fine, but but like I could see something like that. I would accept something like that. But I also think why Marvel does better with them is they're better at utilizing their teams to get those C tier characters mixed in
yeah.
and then like spinning off to a couple of side books where they can use those C tier characters mixed in with like a couple of big names.
Hmm.
And I feel like DC's been like a little. DC seems to be like, okay, well, we have to have a Justice League book that's only going to last for 36 issues, so it has to be the standard 8 people. And maybe we'll throw someone like else in there.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I'm trying to come. Okay, here's one. I'm not familiar enough with them to pull specific names. Is the problem? But it seems to me that if you want an example of C tier characters that get good showcase in DC, the Legion of Superheroes is probably a good place to go looking for that.
Yeah, because it's like, because you can just kind of throw whoever because you really just need Brainiac 5, Lightning Lad, and a couple other mainstays that people are going to
Saturn
expect.
Girl.
Yeah, and then like you get this whole field of like I want to do a side thing with Matter Eater Lad.
I not to be whatever, but I feel like that was something that that the JSA series did while it was good, because and off the top of my head, there was an example where there was a storyline where Damage had actually caught Zoom. You know, he's got Zoom in a headlock, and if Zoom fires up, then what that's going to do is that's going to turbocharge Damage, and they're both going to blow up, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's got to go in there and talk to him. So who goes to do it? Jesse Quick does, and you get a good story out of that. Our Man, the relationship between Rick and Rex Tyler, you had a good arc out of that.
But you know what my favorite Legion members are though is the Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Well,
If you don't know
it
what the
feels kind of like cheating to say, "Hey, my favorite ones are the jokes."
well, there's some of them have like legitimately gotten in over the years.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're just fun. I just think that's kind of the fun of like the Legion that I think people might not realize is like having the League of Losers with them.
yeah, yeah. Well, and the the I have to admit, I'm a little bit. I'm looking through a little bit of a different lens because I look at the Legion of Superheroes through the like '60s comic books my grandfather had,
Yeah,
and so that means that there was a one-off side story that was about Dream Girl and Karate Kid, who got different names later, thankfully. But you know, it was a good story. Um,
they are real. I mean, here's the thing: if you go back to read the Silver Age Legion and you read their first appearance, they're real dickbags in their first appearance. Like absolute, they're jerk faces in that.
yeah, I'm looking at my shelf from where I'm sitting, and the problem is that my collection is stuff I've either already talked to death or really niche, and therefore doesn't really qualify. We can't even throw Detective Chimp in here because he got a big prominent run.
Well, and he's no one wants like a detective chimp series. He's a good supporting character, and he had
Yeah,
the when they were doing that Mask of Fate thing, I don't remember who wrote that, but they did a one shot with him like getting like the Mask of Fate for a bit and turning it down.
Hmm. He was also a really good character in Engine
Shadow
series.
and Shadow Pact, and then
Shadow Pact, yeah.
what did they
Shadow
spin
Pact
out?
came out of that.
What did they spin out from? They spin out from the Shazam one, I think.
That was Day of Vengeance.
Yeah, Day of
So
Vengeance.
Day of Vengeance was the storyline, and Shadow Pact spun out of that, and that was good.
Because he has,
Okay.
I think he has still has Excalibur.
From not Shining Knight. What was his name?
It's been forever since I read some Shadow Pact stuff.
Yeah,
And
can't remember who the guy's name was.
The problem is I reread the Night Side last year, so like a lot of Shadow Pact actually like neatly blends with Night
Yeah,
Side
it
stuff.
kind of goes in with it. Hang on just a second, because
have you read the first two books of that now?
yes,
Have you
I'm through the first two.
did you get to the scene where like the lizard men approach him in the bar?
Oh yeah, when
Where he
it's like, you summoned us for him? No,
and then like
no, we're not doing that.
he was like, their muscles have muscles, and I think he just kicked them in the balls too.
No, they rolled up on him, and when he turned around and they saw who it was, they turned to the guy that summoned him, and was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. What do you think you're? No, we're not doing this.
Do you I still laugh even when you're like 10 books in. It's still funny when he introduces like Susie Shooter, and it's like, oh Christ, it's her run. Is
Yeah.
like one of her nicknames.
By the way, the guy in question I was trying to think of from Shadow Pact is called Nightmaster.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but I think was it Nightmaster sword? Because I don't think he had Excalibur. He had like some weird like demon blade.
He has some kind of. Now I gotta look. Okay, Jim Rook, the Sword of Night, a weapon with the ability to warn of danger, force person to speak the truth. So yeah, they made up a relic weapon for him. So
you'll catch it when you get further in the Night Side. They make a joke where he's going over all these ancient weapons, and like one of them's the holy hand grenade of Antioch.
I really got a big kick out of this story from what the actual turnout on the second story was, where
the one with the
Jude
angels
from the Vatican.
Yeah.
I got it. I dug the way he handled that, because it's like, why are the angels like just running crazy like this? Like, well, they're cut off from their directives, so they're just kind of running wild because they don't have their usual guidance. I'm like, oh, okay, I can follow that.
Yeah, those are fun. Like, don't go in expecting like literary classics, but if you want something that's like a fun little, you can polish it off in 2 days. Like it's they're fun little pulp like books.
They're popcorn books,
and they're funny too.
Yeah. Like I said, they're popcorn books,
and they're very British. They're very British. I'll say that too.
Well, I mean, it is the night side of London, so
yeah. But like, it's the kind of it's a different sense of humor than like Discworld. But like, if someone's like, "Well, describe the humor," I'm like, it's very British. Like, you have to be okay with British humor. Or a lot of it's gonna not land with you.
I might call it like grimy British humor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so other characters. Now I gotta think, because I've hit all my easy targets.
It is tough because like trying to remember people, and like sometimes I'm like, well, they haven't had anything good. It's like, oh, but they were big in the golden age. So they did get like a lot of attention in the golden age.
Yeah, that's one of the things is I've got
because someone might say, because like if someone was here with us and like, well, the Legion of Superheroes, like, no, the Legion of Superheroes had like a crap load of like great stuff in the 70s and early 80s. Or even the Teen Titans is like, well, they've sucked for 20 years. Like, yeah, but they still Etrigan has had
Etrigan.
Yeah, Etrigan had Jack Kirby. I don't think he's been in good stuff, I would say. Um,
Etrigan is. I feel like he's not someone you can build a story around.
he was in
Um,
Shadow Pact, I believe.
he was with them a little bit, but
Because I think,
um,
when did he get upgraded to a rhyming demon?
oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um, but now Etrigan's a good. He's a good plot hook, and he's a good
And
guy.
he's a good MacGuffin.
Yeah. So, like, the way it's 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 too easy to go to because the whole show was so good. But the way they handled it in Justice League Unlimited was excellent, because what happens is Jason Blood's like, "Hey, this is a thing," and they're like, "Oh, we should do something about that." And he's like, "Well, I'm coming with you." And they're like, "Jason, what are you going to do?" And then all of a sudden, Gone form of man is like, "Oh, right." Um, and they have to spend as much time corralling Etrigan as they do fighting the villains,
Oh, I
because he's
know. I know one because he's one of my favorite characters and he doesn't get a lot of attention. Adam Strange. Yeah, the guy with the jetpack, he's kind of like the
yes, I
spokesman.
was going to say him earlier.
Yeah.
The only Adam Strange thing I can remember off the top of my head was the Rand Thanagar War,
Yeah.
which was another Infinite Crisis lead in. But even that wasn't, that's just like one short run.
There was
Um,
I'm trying to remember where there I can't remember what I read more of him in, but yeah, I like his character a lot cuz he's interesting cuz he's like a family man that kind of does it on the side.
Adam Strange, and I didn't think about this until years and years later after I'd read some of his stuff. Adam Strange is an updated version of John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
You know, you get transported over here to do this thing, and it turns out you're a hero at it.
Yeah.
And how does he do it? By wearing a jetpack and having a blaster pistol.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty good. You know, a lot of easy go tos are not easy go tos, because I will give Jeff Johns a hard time for continuity wank, because he wants to tie everything in. But he's also been really good about making good use of lesser used characters. Um,
That's the problem though with some things though is like, oh, you seven soldiers of victory. Like there's some characters I really love from that. But they were these short things. So like Clarion the Witch Boy was cool, but like he's never been in anything interesting other than like the couple or even like the Newsboy Legion, I think, is a concept I really love from Grant Morrison using them. But like if you go back and read them, it's like, well, yeah, Jack Kirby did do them, but then Jack Kirby can't write dialogue for a shit, especially for teenagers in the 70s.
I mean, the Newsboy Legion helped the clone Superboy escape from Cadmus.
Yeah, that's true. And then
So,
I guess I didn't
but
realize though because like the way Johns did the way Morrison did it, like they were tied in with the Guardian. I didn't realize the Guardian and the Newsboy Legion like came from the
yeah,
same like they were his
they,
sidekicks essentially.
yeah, they were all tied in with Cadmus and stuff.
Yeah. But
So
like the
that,
Kirby ones
that's a
aren't
weird spot.
the Kirby ones, the Kirby Newsboy Legion though isn't the original Newsboy Legion. They're the children of the original
Ah,
Newsboy
okay.
Legion because it would have been the early 70s, so it would have like made sense because they could still be like World War II Newsboy Legion.
hmm I'm sitting here trying to think about other stuff, because I'm looking and I look over at my shelf and I'm like, okay, Astro City doesn't count, because the point of Astro City is to showcase a different hero and like everything. So, or a different character and everything. So you can't run with that. Um,
I mean, the Tick's kind of forgotten now, sadly, but he did have his good runs in the
The
beginning.
Tick had a run. The Tick had 2 shows that
Yeah.
were excellent. Um, like I feel like the Tick got a lot of spotlight for it. How much? I know that. Okay, I know I just said that. We might say movie notwithstanding, because from what I understand, the movie was not very good. But it kind of seems to me that this character just showed up in other stuff as kind of a framing device. In a lot of cases, was Jonah Hex. So I don't remember
He's
if
had,
Jonah Hex had his own
yeah,
series.
he did. Because
Okay.
Jimmy Palmiotti did, like, he got, like, a solid, even through New 52, he got, like, a solid 80 issues between 2 books that were really well received.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
That
Jimmy Palmiotti wrote him in, like, the aughts into the tens.
yeah, that's why I was hedging. And yeah, Vectron in chat just pointed out about Martian Manhunter. That's really hard to do. I mean, the compelling stories about Martian Manhunter are how he is an alien and feels isolated. Because he's just, frankly, he's too good.
I think his solo title in, like, the 80s and 90s was more of a comedy book.
Yeah. Well, he had a cat and he liked Oreos
Yeah.
and that sort of. But I mean, those are little character traits that I get a kick out of too. Because
But
how
he
many
fits
times?
better for a comedy book too, I think. If you're gonna do solo stuff with him, I think it's a
Yeah.
better.
I mean, you can't put Plastic Man as a huge part of a serious book because, in the words of Batman, Plastic Man might be the most dangerous of all of us. Um, so it's hard to. You know what I'm having to do is I'm having to lean back and think about Justice League Unlimited episodes right now, because that's my easiest way of going through the mental Rolodex.
Yeah. We
Okay, well, I don't know if this character could have, especially because there was an original version and then a reboot version. Um, is that with the Crimson Avenger? How I don't think that you could really. Crimson Avenger is another one that's kind of a force of nature instead of being a character.
yeah.
Because I mean, the original Crimson Avenger was a character, but when they did the rework, which I was good with, because I mean the original one, there's not really a whole lot you can update with it. But when they did the rework on the Crimson Avenger, the idea of the Crimson Avenger being kind of duped and look, showing up to extract vengeance and that sort of stuff, like it's kind of a lesser Spectre kind of thing going on, but that's not really a character you can build around.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, because we kind of talked about it earlier in the week, is I've been, well, I read the other book last year. If I do big books, I kind of space them out. I don't go from one big book to the next because it burns me out. But I am, like, I'm getting pretty far into, like, the second Stormlight archive book by Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah. So Sanderson is an interesting case. I mean, Sanderson is the most popular fantasy author currently.
Yeah, because
Um, the the
because
thing that
he can magic up a 600-page novel in, like, 2 weeks.
in the words, so I was at a book signing and someone asked me, they go, "How does Brandon Sanderson have the output he does?" And Jim Butcher grabs the mic, he leans in very close, and he goes, "Clones. That's the only thing I can figure out." Brandon Sanderson cracks me up because the dude made an absolute truckload of money, and if you look at his house, it just looks like this normal suburban house. But what he did is he built a layer underneath it. It is this full on, almost supervillain lair underneath his house.
Well, I mean, some guys are just built that way. Like, if you follow like Kirk Cousins in like the NFL, they said he drives like this shitbox minivan to
Mhm.
to to games and practice because he has like 5 gajillion children.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but the thing that I have to give Sanderson credit for is he has figured out how to write overarching narratives. And I mean, it's really, he does a good job. There are tropes that show up in Sanderson stuff, though. So, I read the first Mistborn. And you know what? Yeah, it was good. It didn't hook me. Uh, Vectron, yes, I would. I know I would. Like, yes, I would absolutely do that before I knew Brandon Sanderson did it. In those moments where you fantasize about just becoming fabulously independently wealthy. Cuz look, I'm kind of a low-key guy. I don't when I go out, I don't typically wear logo shirts a lot or something like this. This is me wearing this at home because it's comfortable. I don't like wearing big stuff like that out. If I got that kind of crazy wealthy, I would get a new but a pretty low key vehicle to drive. But having like the lair, having the shed cave, 100%, man. I'd be so down for that. But Sanderson has been very good about that, and he's been very good about developing logical magical systems.
I would say his
That's
worlds,
pretty cool.
his worlds, like the social structure and political situations in his worlds, like make sense too.
Hmm. They make sense. They don't have to be super deep or complicated or anything. They just need to make
And
sense.
like
And
he's very good at like I'll use Stormlight Archive. Like the war with the Parshendi doesn't make sense and it's stupid. And everyone in the book essentially knows it's stupid, but no one wants to say it's stupid because they don't want to be the first one to say it, except for Dalinar, who is starting to say it.
the lore of the Parshendi is dumb until it's not,
Well,
is
they
the best
they
way to put
they they killed the old king, which I don't think they actually did it. I don't, but like that's why they've been at war because they killed the old king and they're trying to get these things called gem hearts. They can make money, but
The
like
gem hearts are how they pay for maintaining the war with the Parshmen or with the Parshendi, and the backstory behind the Parshendi doesn't make sense, and the Parshmen until suddenly it does.
what I'm saying is
Uh,
like the war. Like I think that's an interesting thing he did with it though. Is like the war's dumb and pointless, and it's kind of ruining their country, and everyone. You can tell like everyone like if you read between the lines, like you can tell pretty much everyone in like the royalty and the nobility knows this, but no one wants to like have to say it.
the only person that seems to revel in it and be like, "Oh yeah, we should just keep doing this," is Sadius. And it's
Yeah.
because Sadius is a dickbag. The thing about all of the Sanderson stuff
But even
is
Sadius I find interesting as like a character because like um as far as I am, like he strikes me as like he is in his own way like a true patriot for like his country. He just is a bag of cocks.
so the way I think of Sadius is Sadius thinks that he is Sadius is the kind of guy that thinks that he should be Sauron, but he's really Wormwood.
Well, I mean, like the thing with Sadius though is like he isn't right, but like his point of view, I think, has its merits. Like if someone being in that era of like, yeah, that's
It
not going to work.
You can understand it, but Sadius is the only one that likes the war on the Shattered
He's
Plains.
he's
Like
kind of
he's down with it.
I think like my read on him too is like he is like a cynic to the point it's made him like the bad guy.
Well, I mean, he's the bad guy because he's a dickbag and he's an
What I'm
opportunistic
saying, like
dickbag,
he's cynical and he's like, so he justifies a lot of his bad actions of like, well, someone else would do it if I didn't do it.
which is a dickbag thing.
Yeah. But he's like, I think he's like an interesting villain. But like, I think my takeaway though from some of it, like, I like Sanderson as a writer, but like with some of it, I'm just like, man, I wish someone could take like all this stuff he's done and like actually write the story part of it for me.
So here's one of the things about the Stormlight Archive that's different than all of Sanderson's other stuff is every Stormlight Archive book is really it's an epic arc. It's a 3-book trilogy in one book. You have your introductory section, you have your A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, all in one book for every book. And it's like, okay, I I guess, but dude, but it's hard for me to say that because Stormlight is my favorite of his stuff. Um,
I do like Shalyn a little better because like once she started courting with
well, with
Aelin,
Adolin,
Aelin, yeah, she got like their dynamic is really fun because they're like a very lighthearted, flirty kind of like tease each other
yeah,
dynamic, which really is different than anything else in the book, which I've really enjoyed.
they go together super well, and it's I find it really refreshing that we had this in this book that's like the one of the main couples in it is an arranged marriage that actually really works out. And it's not like they see each other and then it's just done from there. It's they have to interact like they're into each other, but then they start interacting and it's a really good fit.
Yeah,
So that's
it really it
that
really
that's why
gave
I like that.
it really elevated her character. So now I just uh, Kaladin's the one I don't
Uh
love.
okay, how can I say this?
My problem with Kaladin
I
is like my problem with Kaladin is like like his the details are interesting, but like he gets derailed because he's like, I am the main character, and thus I must have main character thoughts and problems. And like and then like it's also like it's you made a good complaint like where he makes like a character progression and then he like goes right back to the start and does like the same character arc again.
yeah. Okay. So one of the and I'm going to clue y'all in one of the things in Stormlight Archive is that in order to be a radiant, radiants have to bond particular spren in order to have radiant powers. And the way that I think of it, I don't remember if they say it this way or not. They might, but the person that the spren bonds with typically needs to be broken so that that bond can help with the cracks. They have, it Adolin is like the most upright, healthy, well-adjusted person in the series. You don't, he's not a God, I have to watch myself because I can't say anything or I'll spoil stuff for you. But you don't see that. Kaladin is a very broken person, and that's why you're going to see him like as the main character with that. Kaladin stuff comes out of um, he has seasonal affective depression. He has survivor's guilt, and those things push him deeper into depression. Okay, I get that. My problem is, and I know that real life depression is something that even after you work through it, it comes back on you, right? Again, trust me, I know
Yeah.
that's realistic, but it's not fun to read him have to go
Well,
through the same process more than
it
once.
I feel like though where it kind of falls flat for me is like in real life it kind of finds a new way to get you and I feel like he just kind of starts the same doubts and stuff over again. It's not like where depression will just be like, okay, you figured that out. But what about this?
Yeah, there's at least for the first stretch, there's not. It feels like that the different twists are not different enough, and I'm just like, oh. And the other thing that happens for me, at least for Shalon, is I kind of get tired of. I get a bit sick of Shalon's shit. It's that's a hard way to put it, but and that's probably just a me thing. My favorite characters in the series are Dalinar and Adolin. I like both of them. And it's can't really go into why, but I like both of them. They're both doing their dead level best to try and handle things properly and do the right thing.
I made a joke in chat to Vectron, but I do want to say, watch that cartoon where Wile E. Coyote has the Roadrunner chart and he's explaining to the children why he's wants to eat a Roadrunner, because that is actually one of the best like villain monologues ever of like their of like justifying their behavior. Like it sounds really crazy, but no, like actually watch that and look at that as like a villain monologuing and justifying like why they're doing it, and it's actually really works because it's like because someone made a joke once because we were talking about how Looney Tunes is like pro wrestling, and they pulled the chart up of that and how Wile E. Coyote's like a really good heel, and someone's like, yeah, his legs taste like double martini. Who wouldn't want to eat a Roadrunner?
I believe that part of the show Bible that Chuck Jones wrote for Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Neither of them ever talk. Things always explode. Things always backfire on Wiley. He always buys stuff from Acme. Like those were hard and fast, and he never catches the Roadrunner. Those were hard and fast rules that were never going to be broken because that was the point.
He did catch him once, except the Roadrunner was giant.
So he still didn't really catch him.
It came up because because when people really jump on Hulk Hogan, the character in the 80s for being a dick, I point out like, well, no, that's kind of an American thing because like Bugs Bunny's a dick too.
But he's so likable.
I'm just saying, like,
he's so charismatic.
The point I was making is like Americans especially like that kind of hard-edged. I wouldn't say anti-hero, but they like their heroes to have like a bit of a dick streak in them.
It's the thing I think that is such a big deal for Bugs is Bugs overcomes a lot of the challenges he faces through being clever and guile. He doesn't overpower him. He doesn't just, beat whatever the challenge is. He has to be smart and overcome it. Because, Elmer's got a gun. Bugs ain't got a gun.
Well, he just gets him to shoot Daffy.
There's lots of things. So it's a, Bugs is a guile hero, basically. He's really good at it. But he's a guile hero, and that's also why Space Jam doesn't work. Is because
Michael Jordan can't act.
I believe that the I can't remember who they asked. And like, if we're going to be true to the characters, Bugs would have handled the Monster Squad.
I like so. I have a soft spot for Space Jam.
Vectron with the statement, all bards are warlocks and their patron is Bugs Bunny. I'm going to have to chew on that one for like a couple of weeks.
But I think like I am enjoying it, but like I said, it does have some flaws that sometimes I kind of wish another writer had like with a little more flair for like the human side of it like was because it's because the thing is like the world's really great, but and there are times where it's actually like super good, but there are also times where it's very dry.
Yeah, when you write as much stuff as Sanderson does, you're gonna have stuff that it's a swing and a miss. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah, and the thing with Stormlight Archive is I would say like 80% of the book is good, but you do hit like dead spots for like chapters at a time.
Yeah, one of the things that I enjoy the most about Stormlight is that you can have there there is the potential to split off and do stuff with more minor characters if there was a good time to explore it more. And I understand, like, there's in the cast is in big enough. Like, you
Yeah.
don't really want to do that. You don't really want to run the cast out like too big. But if it could, there could be a lot of interesting stuff you could do with characters who are not in the spotlight. There are 10, 8 or 10 orders of the Knights Radiant, and I feel like that's very fertile ground to do a lot of stuff with.
Yeah.
But to keep going with the storyline that got people invested in the first place, he needs to stay with the main characters, and I can't argue with that.
Some of his like societal choices I think are interesting. Like just as the one that sticks out to me and I think is an interesting idea that he actually uses in the stories quite a bit. So if you don't know in this story, like literacy is considered not manly. So very few men can actually read or write, so they have to have women do it. So like in the first book, Dalinar gets obsessed with the writings of like a former king about like the way society was. But because Dalinar is like a manly man, he had to have some woman like read it to him over and over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
there's there's a great scene later where, because the book that he is focused on is called The Way of Kings. That's where the name of the first book comes from.
Yeah.
And it's about how people in positions of authority should behave. There is a great gag later on that comes up because this is basically Dalinar's Bible, right? This is what he
Yeah.
lives by, and I can't I can't talk about it because that would ruin it. It's
But it does come it does but it does play into a lot of scenes. Like it's not some like little window trimming like a lot of authors will do, and then it never like plays its way into the world at all. Like
oh
no,
yeah,
it
no, no, no.
actually it actually can become a real inconvenience for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's super important. You're in Words of Radiance, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking for something real
They
quick.
just
So
Adolin and Shaolin just went to the menagerie.
that doesn't stand out enough for me. Okay, it's not in this one.
Okay.
Um, but when
He just agreed they're strategizing for the fights. He just agreed to take on like four guys at once for like the for
oh,
their
Adolin's dueling a bunch of people
yeah.
for their
He
shards.
just
Yeah.
beat the one. He's been after the champion. He just took out his like cousin and took his shards, and that guy's all pissy about it. And he agreed to fight like four guys
Because
at once.
he's mad that Adolin just beat the shit out of him. Is what he was mad about.
Yeah.
Um, there's okay. It's not in this book. I can't do it. The thing is, when Sanderson gets some characters right, he gets them really, really right. And then when he has some characters that aren't quite right, they get to be really not quite right.
Like a lot of the Bridgman, I liked a lot of them in the first book, and they worked really well. But some of them have become an annoyance in the second book because they aren't getting the screen time to really like continue the.
Oh, to flesh them out.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
I
Rock,
know what it is.
like
You're a
Rock.
huge fan of the Lopin, aren't you?
He's barely been in this book.
Oh, you like Lopin, don't you, Gancho?
I like him fine, but like Rock hasn't been in it much, so like his kind of idiosyncrasies aren't as fun when he's not getting the screen time. It's just like he shows up and says the line and disappears again for
Yeah, he
like
shows up and calls you an airsick lowlander, and then he's gone.
yeah.
It's
But I get why it happens. But I just said like that's kind of like it. Like a lot of the bridgemen that felt like more interesting in the first book are less interesting now, just because they're not getting them.
they come back around.
I figured.
It's it's weird because can't do it.
He really keeps it. He only keeps. He doesn't do like what Robert Jordan does, where like any character in Robert Jordan could get a chapter devoted from their perspective. Like Sanderson really keeps it limited to maybe 4 or 5 characters.
He keeps it pretty focused.
Because you get
If it's not the 4 or 5 characters, it's right around that particular group that are doing something
like
together.
Shallan and Kaladin are the main 2 perspectives, but then Dalinar will get some, Adolin will get a little bit, Sadeas will get a little bit, and then who's the other one? They're the main ones though.
Navani gets a little
She
bit.
hasn't been in this book very much though.
She'll get more. Kaladin, Shallan, Adolin, Dalinar.
Yes, no, we'll get some. Yes, no, we'll get.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes. That's Yasna's one of those that I'm like, just, but I can't say anything about the last book that he did. I was just like, I was really frustrated with it, but I will sit on that because that's a whole different conversation. Like I said, the things that he does well, I really like. The whole thing about the different orders and the orders of radiance and what that means, that's fascinating. That's wonderful. Like there's so much fertile ground there that you could dig into. I like that. You get a little bit of that with Mistborn because the different metals do different things, and some people are only attuned to one metal, but then the Mistborn are attuned to all of them. Like, okay, that's cool too, because then you have folks who just they have specialties. The pewter burners are just straight up. They swallow pewter, they burn it, and they just beat the shit out of everything.
No, that's interesting.
Okay. There's a lot you can do with that. The
Mistborn was just a trilogy, right?
Oh no. Oh, there's
no.
6 books.
Oh, okay.
In Mistborn, like the smokers who burn copper, what they do is if you've got somebody burning copper, what that does is that like crowds out all the other metal use around them.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of creates this. It doesn't crowd it out. Well, it does some. It kind of crowds out. You can push back the other metal use stuff, but it's okay, yeah. BattleTech Gothic was a different thing. That was looking at it and going, what if we did this stuff with it? What if some of our mechs looked a little 40K? And I thought it's a fun thought experiment. They're fun sculpts. I don't really care about the lore for it. I kind of look at them as what if comics. That's fun to look at. I don't want more of it.
Where I kind of started losing it with like BattleTech was I like the pre-clan era where like a mech was really rare. Like it was probably handed down from your family. You didn't want to take it into battle because if it got damaged, you probably couldn't find the parts to like repair it.
But you had to take it into battle
Oh
because
yeah.
that was your force projection. Um, my preferred era for BattleTech is between the Fourth Succession War and the Clan Invasion, because you've got enough mechs that you're not hesitant to use them, but you also don't just refit everything to the point where it's like, well, now every mech is the same, because
I, I don't remember which source book it was. It was like 100 years before all that stuff, I think, where like it had like a lot of the mechs you knew, but like some like early stuff. It was like early
okay,
tech. But that's interesting. But like when
that
they
that that would have been like early Star League stuff then.
yeah,
So
but like when they get to like jihad and stuff, I hate jihad. That's so stupid.
okay, the Jihad can kiss my taint, and I'll tell you why. It makes no sense
No, it
whatsoever.
doesn't. And they
Where
fucked
did
smoke.
okay?
And they
Where
fucked your well. You don't like it because they fucked your favorite clan too.
well, Great House?
Smoke jaguars.
Oh, dude, no. Smoke Jaguars fucking suck.
Oh, I thought you
No,
liked.
they got the Jaguars. They went from Smoke Jaguars to Smoked Jaguars at Tukiyid or
Well, I mean, a lot
Tukayid,
of
whichever way you want to say it. Like they were relegated to the past tense as a result of that. No, screw the Jaguars.
see.
My favorite clan's Ghost Bear.
I think people complain
Well,
about how
Wolverine and Ghost Bear. Ghost Bear.
people complain about how they ended the clan invasion, like the Battle of Tukiyid. But I'm like, no, it makes sense. Like that's exactly how
Yeah,
that would have gone. Like the
yeah.
clans were stupid.
It makes perfect sense because you had a tactical mastermind who understood the shortcomings of the clans and how to exploit them.
Yeah,
Anastasius Vogt was smart and knew how to do that. The
and they
Jihad pisses me off because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
yeah.
They blew up the Free Worlds League because, oh, nobody writes anything about the Free Worlds League, so nobody cares about it. Um, and then where did all of this come from? Because Comstar's depleted at this point. Where are the Wobbies getting all this from? Where are they getting all the people from? Where are they getting all the money from? Where are they getting all the material from? I don't know. They just suddenly have it. And so, it sucks. It conceptually it sucks. Execution it sucks. And it's just this placeholder to try and do something with it, because they were told you got a deadline, you got to turn this out, and I don't know ever how long it was. It's like, no, come on, man. This was stupid.
Oh, and
This was really stupid.
Vectron makes a good point. Like that was also the era where it just got stupid and everyone had double heat sinks. So it's just like, yeah, fuck heat. I'm just gonna shoot my 4 PPCs over and over and over again because what's heat?
If you're going to shoot that many PPCs, you need to be in an awesome, okay? Like that's the conceit. That's what an awesome has.
Yeah.
But
Or
I don't.
I'm dual wielding Gauss rifles because again, what's heat?
Gauss rifles don't make heat.
Yeah,
They're
they
just
do.
super rare.
I thought
They make very little heat.
I thought they were like I thought those were the ones where they like they were rare, but they also like were a fuckload of heat.
No, I don't think so.
Let me look.
I don't think so.
Vectron will correct it.
Um, but here's the thing. It's if you wanted to do the word of Blake jihad thing, it's like, and you wanted to make it work, then okay, Vectron kind of hit on what I was going to say. What you do is you just have them scattered all over the place. And then you have, when they rise up and congregate, they carve out a piece of somewhere
Oh,
and go, this is ours.
you're right. I'm thinking of something else that generated a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Maybe it was those
I mean,
stupid. Maybe it was those stupid when when they were trying to compete with the clan, and then the new PPCs did the same damage, but they generated 15 heat in the game.
oh, the ERPPCs,
Yeah,
extended range. Like I said, I like the era. I call it around the helm memory core, because you get a little bit of the good stuff, but every mech is still distinct because of the way its loadout is pretty well set. It's What can I use as an example? Let
Well,
me grab some.
and I miss like when you could use these weird ones for like really niche uses, and like it was okay if like a mech just like sucked.
Right. So, like, if you want a generalist, let's not use that one. Let's
But like,
use this one.
but like as
Like,
an
an Orion
example,
as a generalist works, but that's because an Orion has to be a good generalist, you have to be big enough to have good enough weapons to do general things. A You can't do that with smaller stuff. But then let's say you turn around and you grab, like, on the medium end, like, what makes a hunchback so cool? There's two. There's mainly two versions of the hunchback. There's great big hecking cannon, or there's a boombox of disco lasers that all shoot. And what happens is they have this really big shot that they'll take, but they're not good at a lot of other stuff. And so what you get is you get roles. Like, they fit in these roles and they do stuff. And a lot of the generalists aren't good enough to be. They're not actually really good generalists. Like, the Atlas is. I am of the opinion that the Atlas has not got a really good loadout. Like, it's big and it's tough,
but
but
it
it's like I do a little over there, I do some when you get close, but
doesn't do much damage.
yeah, it's not got great synergy in its weapon loadout. But it's not
That
supposed to.
it's supposed to
It's a
be a
big
meat.
scary, yeah, it's a big scary brick.
Well, I think good generalists like in the medium category are like the enforcer and the centurion, because
Yes.
they can they have pretty good armor, so they can go toe to toe with stuff, and they have just enough firepower on them that even a heavy is going to give them some respect, because they
You look at
might.
it and you're like, okay, I got to be careful about that guy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Vector. On the weapon bracketing on your stock base Atlas is not great.
And like I think there are some light mechs that can sort of do base generalist stuff. Like I think like a commando or a fire starter can be feisty in certain situations. Like especially if you're in like woods, like a fire starter is gonna.
Oh, a fire starter is all about I get behind you and now I overheat you. And guess
Yeah.
what? You're overheated. You're not doing anything else again. The fire starter is a sucker punch. But here's the thing: if if especially you get into post clan invasion and that sort of stuff, the hell of it is that the if your light mechs are too good, then why that's going to cut out a whole bunch of stuff for you, and you lose those roles. Like, why? Or you get stuff that is superlative in its role, so why would you take anything else? Why if
Why take it if a warhammer will do its job better?
I'm less of a Warhammer fan because I feel like the base Warhammers aren't actually cooled properly for what they're supposed to do. But okay, full disclosure, my favorite mech, right here. This is a Thunderbolt. What's the purpose of a Thunderbolt? A Thunderbolt's a generalist. A Thunderbolt is tough as shit, but it's also not going to overpower anything with firepower. A Thunderbolt is the guy who goes up front and brawls and keeps the attention and is never useless.
My,
And there's scads of them, so they're easy to repair and they're not hard to work on. That's why I like it. But if you turn around and be like, the thing about clan mechs is they're all super rare or they're super expensive to work on, so you lose out a lot on that. Um, the Who am I gonna pick on?
but then
You
there's
know,
like there are good specialists. Like people
mhm.
dunk on like an urban mech, but like an urban mech's pretty good at its job. Same with like a hatchet man. Like a hatchet man's not as clowned on, but if you're in like an urban setting, like a hatchet man is gonna be a pain because it can melee with you, and urban mechs are tiny, so they can like take pot shots at you. And some of those urban mechs are packing like a single weapon that does a lot of damage.
Yeah, Urban Mech, Hatchet Man, and Victor are just nasty city fighters. Um, the sorry, an archer is a roll mech. It's a fire support mech.
Yeah, you just park it
Um,
on a hill and start raining
it's a
missiles down.
it's a fire support and command mech though. So it's the kind of thing I sit back here and I'm shooting missiles at stuff, but I'm also like reading the field and calling targets. That sort of like it's got a role. But the problem is that I think an archer is how many tons is an archer?
It's 50 with what no with
No,
it.
it's not 50. It's a
That's
heavy
still
mech.
it's like
Uh,
it's lighter. It's
I
pretty
should
well
know.
armored.
It's 70 tons.
Yeah, that,
So an archer is 70 tons. A mad cat is 75. A mad cat's just too good at everything. So, you know,
well, the Mad Cat has the 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 PPC. Well, are they larger PPCs on a Mad Cat?
I mean they're clan tech, so they shoot further and they hit harder.
Well, what I was
Um,
gonna say, it's like the same concept, except like with an archer, they just have the missile racks and like a small laser, and they do have
usually two mediums.
and they do have hands, which is useful, which
Hmm.
because you can punch things if they get too close, which is a useful thing in
Yeah.
that game. But like I think the Mad Cat has the missile racks, but the it has heavier laser. It has heavier cannons. I think it might have
It, it's
PPC.
it's got two big missile racks. It's got PPCs and it's
Yeah,
got clan lasers.
yeah. So
So it's like, hey, guess what? I can do everything in this mech, and it's like, then why would you ever take anything else?
yeah, that's the problem.
And that's my problem. That's why I don't like them. It
Because
gives
even
you
like
something to fight against, but I don't like it because what are we doing here? Is now we're just stomping all over this
I
separation of roles.
I also don't get it too because it's like, well, why would you even have the vulture? Because the Mad Cat's better than the vulture.
The vulture's a more long range, I guess, and it's lighter, so it's less battle value.
But they're both
And
heavies
Vectron's right;
though.
they're lighter, they're lighter armored, and that's really the thing about the clans is the clans came out of a society of scarcity. They had these honor duels because they couldn't afford to have giant knockdown dragouts. So it's like, oh, we're having these honor duels to minimize the loss of personnel and material.
Some of
Okay,
that stuff in that first 2050 or no 3050 book was just stupid.
like you got to be more specific, man.
3050 is the so the first 3050 technical readout was the first clan readout because it went
Hmm.
3025. But like I was just remembering how much some of that stuff pissed me off because like the clans are like stupid and some of the stuff like the Mad Cat and stuff.
I mean, yeah, they're really powerful. They're also super expensive.
Yeah.
As an example, so the last time I got to do a big Alpha Strike game, because we got some local folks who are getting into it, and Alpha Strike's the good gateway drug. We had on our side of the table, we had 3 Inner Sphere players. On their side of the table, they had 2 clan players. And as the game kicks off, yeah, guess what? The clan players nuke a couple of guys. One guy, they nuke a couple of his mechs out from under him, and he's just deflated. And he's like, man, we're not going to get. I said, dude, I haven't even made it up to the fight yet. Let's keep after this. And then all of a sudden, when he he when my stuff gets into play and one of the clan players loses one of their mad cats, all of a sudden they've lost this gigantic chunk of their force. Because what happened was the other 2 were playing a bunch of mediums because those were the mechs they had.
Mm-hmm.
I brought a force of assaults because I'm like, okay, we need somebody who's gonna like hold the line and brawl. So when I closed into range and started in on them, I'm also more heavily armored, and all of a sudden, what happens is, oh, because I could take what they were throwing and hit back plenty hard. Yeah, the clans were not built for total war. When that's what the inner sphere did it so well, they had to have a treaty against doing it.
Well, and that's the other thing that I think people forget when they complain about the Battle of Tukid is like they were also losing territory they'd already conquered because they weren't a good occupying force either.
Yeah,
So
they
like
were
they
not
would,
doing well. Their supply lines were screwed up, and they were not used to dealing with insurgencies
because
on
like
the
they were
planets they held.
because they were getting pushed out of places they had conquered already.
And the one place that I will back off on the clans a little bit is when you get away from the Omni mechs into non-Omni clan mechs. Those can be kind of fun. Like my favorite clan mech, and you're gonna have to excuse me because the paint job on this sucks. But my favorite clan mech is the Kodiak, which is a 100-ton ghost bear mech that is festooned with medium lasers. What is it supposed to do? It's supposed to close in on you and eat you alive. You know what happens? It's not great beyond that, but it has a role. And that's what is great. The thing that I like about the BattleTech setting, other than big stompy robots are cool, is that everybody in the setting is fallible. Nobody in the setting is the best, right? The Federated Sons think they are, but they're kind of pompous dickbags. And so there's nobody who's the best. You pick the horse you pick and you back that horse, warts and all. And you roll with it. And there's enough space that you can play with that about anywhere because everybody's got border skirmishes. You know, all the great houses kind of touch. If they don't touch, they get real close to it right there in the middle. And so you can play with all of that. And that's really fun. And then the clans show up, and the clans they have their flaws too. The thing is, when you disseminate all that stuff amongst everybody, now any mech can be anything, and the individuality's gone out of them.
Well, and the I think where the clans also go really wrong, and it is what cost them, is their bidding system sets them up for failure. Because that's how they lost the Battle of Tukid too, is because they bid too low. Because what they do, so what you do in the clans, if you don't know, is they bid to take over a planet, and you win by putting the least resources in the field.
Yeah, the idea is you get more honor if you can accomplish more goals with less resources. Yeah. And Smoke Jaguar went like balls to the wall because whoever had the most honor got to drop onto Tukayed first. Tukayed, Tukayed, we either one, both, fine. And so I think there were, was it 10 clans were represented, I think? And so they bid for their drop order. And what they didn't count on was the fact that Comstar didn't take their forces and split them up among each clan. They threw everything at the first available target. So when Smoke Jaguar showed up, first of all, they played them like a fiddle. And second, I mean, they just wiped them out.
And they would like run up, like, they would also, they knew their like societal things. So like, let's say your mech was all damaged up and stuff, and you were maybe thinking about doing, withdrawing, like they would just run up and challenge you to an honor duel.
They'd be like, "Hey, bitch, come get you some." And you'd be like, "Well, I can't turn that down. I'll lose honor." And then you get smoked, which is why they became the past tense, smoked Jaguar. Yeah. That's not entirely true because I think it was Operation Bulldog that wiped them out after the invasion, but they were pretty well done at that point. Yeah. And there's a bunch of them that had that happen. Out of all the clans, 2 of them got a draw on the terms that Comstar laid out, and one of them got a win. And frankly, one of them got a win because they were like, "We'll go last. We'll bring the most stuff." Because Clan Wolf was written to always be the most bestest.
Yeah, they're the
Okay,
lamest.
Vectron's confirming it was Operation Bulldog that they wiped out Smoke Jag because Smoke Jaguar were the most dicks, like the biggest, most, and it's MechWarrior 5 Clans. The base game you are playing as Smoke Jaguar, you get to see how they are just the absolute worst.
I don't know. Wolf's pretty shitty too.
Wolf has plot armor
Yeah,
for most of their.
Wolf is to them what Ahsoka is to Dave Filoni.
Oh, Wolf is less insufferable, but whatever.
They did use Jade Falcon pretty well in the cartoon, so I have a soft spot for Jade Falcon.
Guess what? Jade Falcon's in the most recent MechWarrior 5 DLC, and it's awesome.
I haven't
Like
I haven't
that DLC's hard, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it's unfair. You've got to, you've got to play it right.
How's the clans one? Out of
I mean,
curiosity.
so what happens is Mercenaries is more sandboxy. Clans is more narrative. They're both fun, but Clans is the more narrative, and so you get an arc with Smoke Jaguar. You get an arc with Ghost Bear. Now
I
I gotta
know
look.
the new DLC. Oh, let's look here. The new DLC is on sale for like 10% off.
Oh, dude, here's the thing. All of the MechWarrior 5 stuff I've really enjoyed.
God,
I'm not gonna say okay.
they really beat you over the head with DLC for the clans one.
Well, no, they do it more for Mercenaries because you have clans, you have
Yeah,
like
but
Invasion.
I feel like Mercenaries did the DLC like over a longer period of time.
They did. There's three story arc DLC for clans. There's the base one. There's Flash Storm, Ghost Bear Flash Storm, and there's Wolves of Tukayed. But if you go to Mercenaries, then you get. Let me run this all the way down. You've got MechWarrior 5, Heroes of the Inner Sphere, Kestrel Lancers, Call to Arms, Rossel Hog, Dragon's Gambit, Solaris Showdown, Shadows of Karinsky, and Chaos Reign. The reason this keeps happening is that is it who's the developer? God, I gotta look.
It's Piranha.
Piranha is under the Piranha is
I'm
in
totally not
that
looking at it on the store right now or anything.
Piranha is under that Microsoft umbrella. And so they haven't done well enough to make MechWarrior 6, but they've done well enough to keep making DLC, and the DLC keeps selling well enough that they can make more DLC. I'm not going to complain because I'm happy to have more BattleTech.
Well, the last two DLCs, from what I know, has been pretty good, so that helps.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a good time with them. We'll put it that way.
I should get it because it's really cheap right now, actually.
Mercenaries or the DLC?
The new DLC. I have everything else, but the new DLC.
Chaos Reign?
Yeah, it's on sale for 10% off because I was thinking about it the other day. Because I know you
Yeah,
had mentioned it to me.
it is hard, but to me it doesn't feel unfair. And there's the whole thing is also a fun callback. So you'll enjoy it.
It would help if I went to the store page of MechWarrior 5 and not BattleTech.
So no. It's still under the Microsoft banner, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is.
So it's anyway. It's unfortunate, but that's where we're at.
Yeah. So I think that's it for this week. We got into a BattleTech talk,
so,
but that's
we did, but that's okay. BattleTech's fun. I like and it, by the way, if you're someone who looks at Tex Talks BattleTech videos and you're like, that's kind of long, the vehicle guides, like they did one for the Hetzer, and there's another one that's coming soon. The vehicle guides are like 20 minutes, and
if you like
frankly,
reading,
the Hetzer was a lot of fun.
If you like reading, the technical readouts are highly worth it because like what they usually do is they tell you like what it can do, and then I don't know if the newer ones do this, but what I used to like is they would give you like notable stories of like notable pilots with that mech.
Hmm.
And they'd be kind of like urban legends or like stories with it. But I used to really dig that with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. BattleTech 101 is also really good. That's the one.
The tech
The
stuff
primer.
is the tech stuff is really fun. Like honestly, if you just wanted its background noise, you don't really even have to watch it.
So Tex Talks BattleTech stuff is very well done. And the other thing I'm going to say is that there are other people that do longer stuff. Big Red 40K stuff. He's got one that I think is 3 hours. Um, there's another guy, I can't remember what it is. He's got one that's 8. And I'm like, I'm sorry. That's too much for me. I can't do that. If you want shorter stuff, Mechanical Frog, does Why Do We Love the Mech Here? They're 20 to 30 minutes. So, if you want to, the thing that Tex does differently than the other stuff I've watched is that he weaves the circumstances around that particular thing together in order to bring it to that point. And he does it in, believe it or not, a decently succinct way.
I would
I mean,
also
2 hours
say
is 2 hours, but
I would also say he's like a better entertainer than like a lot of other ones. Like he has a good voice. He understands like well, I mean they do the script, but he understands how to throw humor in like appropriately. Um, he has a very good like documentarian approach to it, and
he also has a very good team that helps him put the stuff together.
and he just has a better flair as a presenter, I think, honestly, than a lot of people.
He has his style figured out, and his style really works. So
Yeah.
that is plus he's a pretty decent dude.
Yeah, he did a show with us a couple years ago now.
It was one of the first YouTube shows we did.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, I like Tex. He was a nice guy.
yeah.
But that is it for this week. Thank you everyone for joining us as always. This has been well, I was gonna say Matt because I always say that first. This has been Shad and Brad. Matt has not been here, but we've been in 2 corners this week, and you've been in the whatever. Just pick one.
Tagline's all screwed up.
Yeah, just pick one. But thank you for joining us as always. Thanks Vectron for hanging out. It was cool to have you all the way through the show.
Appreciate having you. Yeah,
yeah,
it was great.
but we are going to be. We'll see you next week. We might do some Dory Funk stuff. I've just got to figure out matches for that. But
we'll see what it'll be. Yeah.
But we will.
Y'all have a good night.
Yep, we will catch you next time.